Hey guys, welcome back to a brand new sports bet video. So for today's NBA video, we're going to be talking about the second round of the Western Conference. Just a couple minutes ago, the Clippers and Mavericks wrapped up Game 7 of their first round series, in which the Clippers won. So they're going to be moving on. So it's going to be a 1-4 matchup between the Utah Jazz and the Los Angeles Clippers. And it's going to be a 2-3 matchup between the Phoenix Suns and the Denver Nuggets. So for all we're going to be doing today is we're going to be making our predictions, what team we think is going to win, and how many games are going to do it, and also some things that we're going to be looking out for. We also have one about the Eastern Conference already out on our channel, so make sure you guys go watch that. But let's get right into this video. So Dylan, let's start with the 1-5 matchup. Who do you have, or 1-4 matchup? Who do you have between Utah and the Clippers?
So this might be a little bit of a hot take. I actually don't know how unpopular my opinion will be, but I'm going to take the 4th seed over the 1st seed. So I'm going to take the Los Angeles Clippers over the over the Utah Jazz. The reason for that, I believe, is just simply Kawhi Leonard. I think that he is probably been the best player in this entire playoffs. And I think that he's pretty much the reason why he single-handedly won Game 7 for them and a bunch of other games throughout the series too against the Mavericks. So I think his offensive ability, his defensive impact, just his overall like two-way ability, plus that of Kawhi, plus that of Paul George's, because contrary to popular belief, Paul George really hasn't been playing all that bad throughout these playoffs, and he's been shooting pretty well from the field. Like, he hasn't necessarily been, quite the same as Kawhi, but he's obviously a good secondary player to him. I think that they have a lot of depth, a decent amount. They have Beverly, they have Ibaka, Marcus Morris played well, Nicholas Batum, Reggie Jackson, and hopefully Rondo will start to pick it up later in this series. I just think that they have more star power offensively, at least, and they have good enough defensive pieces for sure with Kawhi, Paul George, and the rest of them. And the Utah Jazz, I am a big fan of a couple other players, Rudy Gobert in particular. I think he's one of the best. I think he's the best defender in the league. I think we mentioned in our last video he should have won Defensive Player of the Year, in my opinion. He's shooting really efficient, actually. This is something I just found out. He is averaging... he's shooting 78% from the field, which is really crazy. He's still averaging a decent amount of points. Obviously, Donovan Mitchell is playing like pretty much at a superstar level, but I just think that the tandem and the Clippers just star power in general, and I guess their ability to also hit threes is what gives them the edge, in my opinion.
So for me, so I don't know. This was a little tough decision for me because I think that this is going to be a good series. But I ultimately went with Utah. Now, this might just be because the Clippers and Mavericks series just ended. But yeah.
Clippers in 6.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So he has Clippers in 6. Okay. So like I was saying, I'm going Utah for this one. Now, the reason I might have some recency bias with this because the Mavericks and Clippers just won 7 games, and I feel like if Luka Doncic by himself can take the Clippers 7 games, I feel like this is going to be a little bit of a different story because we all know that Luka needs help, right? That's probably like one of the biggest reasons why the Mavericks lost that series, because Luka pretty much has no other help. But if you look at the Utah Jazz, they're an extremely well-balanced team. I mean, they have, like, if we look at their starting 5, if I just pull up the starting 5, they have Bogdan Bogdanovic, Rudy Gobert,
Bojan, my bad.
Bojan Bogdanovic. They have Rudy Gobert, Mike Conley, Donovan Mitchell. Their bench has 2 Sixth Man of the Year finalists, and also the winner of the Sixth Man of the Year, Jordan Clarkson, who's the winner, and then Joe Ingles, who's the finalist. I mean, this is a very, very good and very well-balanced Utah team, and that's ultimately why I think they're going to win, because I feel like if Luka by himself took the Clippers to 7, like, Utah, which is a way more balanced team, like, they have a Defensive Player of the Year finalist, and like Dylan said, he believes that he should win the Defensive Player of the Year. And I mean, I don't know, I just feel like I know the Clippers are really good, right? The Clippers are also really good. They have the superstar power between Kawhi and Paul George. Kawhi, as Dylan mentioned, won them Game 7, also won them Game 6, and I feel like he's going to have performances like that in this series as well, where he's just carrying the Clippers to some series wins. But I feel like also the Utah Jazz also have really good 3-point shooters. Joe Ingles, Bogdanovich is pretty good. Clarkson is good. Conley is also having a resurgence here. So I feel like, since this is such a balanced team, that's why I ultimately have them winning. But once again, like I said, I feel like Kawhi and Paul George will win the Clippers some games. So I'm going to go Utah in 7. I think this series just goes 7 between the well-balanced team of Utah and the star power of the Clippers. So that is ultimately my prediction for this series. Any thoughts? Final thoughts? Or should we just move on to the next one?
Let's move on to the next series.
All right, so the next series that we have is the 2-3 matchup, the Phoenix Suns being the number 2 seed and the Denver Nuggets being the number 3 seed. And once again, this is also another very close series, in my opinion. You have the MVP, in my opinion, Nikola Jokic on the Denver Nuggets, and Michael Porter Jr. is really picking it up. He averaged 18.8, 6.7 rebounds. His efficiency also 53.8%. It was 50-40-90 in that series. So, his efficiency is still off the charts. So I just feel like, you have those two guys. And then on the Suns, you have Devin Booker and Chris Paul. Now, Chris Paul, he should be healthy for this series. And Devin Booker is just going to be Devin Booker. He averaged 29.7 points in his first playoff series, so he's just going to continue to be him. So it's really just Chris Paul, Devin Booker, Nikola Jokic, and Michael Porter Jr. But I ultimately I don't really think that is there really any team in the league that can stop Nikola Jokic? Probably not. But I feel like they can at least somehow try to contain him. I don't know. I just feel like the Suns are going to win this series because of the scoring that they can get from Devin Booker. They also have, like I said, Chris Paul, who impacts winning like no other. I just feel like they're also a very well-balanced team. So I will say this goes to 7. I'm going to say Suns in 7. That's really all I have to say about this series.
So I'm going to go Suns in 6, right? I just want to put this out there. If Jamal Murray wasn't injured, I would likely have the Denver Nuggets as the favorites to make it to the finals and make it out the Western Conference. But Jamal Murray is their second or third best player, depending on how you look at it, and I think you can't overlook that fact. I know you said before, Shivam, that it was Jokic and Porter Jr. against Booker and Paul, but the Suns also have DeAndre Ayton, who has been playing pretty much like the best basketball of his entire career. I think he's shooting like 90% at the rim. He's averaging like 16 and 10. He was playing AD well. There's a reason the Suns beat the Lakers team, even though AD wasn't healthy for like almost half the series. I think the Suns are just a better team. I think that's why they have the better record, especially with Jamal Murray out. I have faith in Jay Crowder and Mikal Bridges to play well. I think Devin Booker can continue the scoring that he's done. I think Chris Paul is only going to get better as he heals from that injury. I think Aiden is going to continue to produce at a high level, and I have faith in Cameron Payne, not so much Cameron Johnson, to step it up. And just looking at the Nuggets, yes, Jokic is the MVP. Obviously, I don't think anyone can really dispute that unless there's just some people in the media that are just not very knowledgeable about basketball. But Michael Porter Jr., I like him. I don't like too many of the other players. I do like myself some Aaron Gordon. I don't really trust Austin Rivers in the playoffs. I don't know how to feel about Monte Morris. Campazzo, JaMychal Green don't really do it for me. I think the Suns just have a better team. They worked better. I think they played better. They played the better team, beat the better team compared to what the Nuggets did, beating a Trailblazers team with Damian Lillard and whoever else.
Only Damian Lillard. Pretty much only Damian Lillard.
Yeah, so I just think the Suns are just a better team overall. I think they have more star players. I think they have 3 compared to the 2, even though Jokic is going to be the best player on the court. And I like Michael Porter Jr. as a player, but I think he's still young. His defense is not quite up to par with what he can be, and I also think that he's a bit streaky of a shooter. I know in game 6, like he finished the first quarter with like 22 points, and then he went 0 for 6. He went 0 for 6 after that, right? So he's a streaky shooter. I like him as a player, but I don't think he'll be that consistent. So I just have the Suns just winning because I think they're the better team, and with Jamal Murray out, they just for me.
Agreed. And also, once Jamal Murray comes back, that's still a very good trio that they have, assuming he comes back healthy with Jokic, Murray, and Porter. But,
Whoever returns healthy next year, I'll have them the favorites to make the finals.
Interesting. All right. So that's gonna be it for our video. So just a recap. Dylan and I both have. Oh, did you say you said the Suns in 6, right? So Dylan and I both have the Suns. Dylan has Suns in 6. I have Suns in 7, and then I have Utah in 7, and Dylan has the Clippers in 6. Yes. So that's me for today's video. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Peace.